Brad, I hope you can hear me. Okay, good. A question is a guy who played in this league, played a long time in the minors as well. How much respect do you have for Jake Voracek, or really any player coming up on 1,000 games? That's a big number.
It's a huge milestone. First of all, just stay healthy enough to play 1,000 games, be relevant enough to play 1,000 games, and put up the kind of numbers he has. It's special. There's some milestones in this game that are crazy. I feel like that's one of them. It's just the longevity of it, and to do what he's done and do it at the level he's done it at. It's a pretty impressive thing.
Yeah, you would have seen a few of these ceremonies or these performances, 1,000 games in Colorado, I'm guessing. You view those players differently? Do they sort of climb on a different pedestal when a guy reaches that point of his career?
Yeah, 999 or 1,000. There seems like a big difference, right? But yeah, again, I don't think people realize how hard it is to not only last that long, but stay healthy enough to play that many and then to produce at that level. This is a really tough league. It's the best league in the world, and I was fortunate to play with some special players too to reach those milestones and be very good at it too. So that's something I think Jake will cherish. I mean, it's a feather in your cap, and that's something that I don't know what the number is, but you're in pretty elite company when you play that amount of games. So good for him.
And you've only known him for half a year now or so. What have you seen from him as a first-year head coach? What's it been like to have a player like that on your bench?
I know exactly why he's played 1,000. It's not just skill and his ability to make plays. He loves to play hockey. He does, and he's not perfect. None of our guys are, but he's passionate about the game. He loves coming to the rink. He loves to win. He hates losing. And like every player, there's things to work on. But I think that's what drives him. He just enjoys competing and playing, and that's why I believe he's been able to last as long as he has and been as good as he has been.
Thanks, Brad.
Okay, we'll go to Brian Hedrick. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, hey, Lars. Along those same lines, what has he meant specifically to this team this year? Bringing him in. I know that the idea was, maybe get Line A some more feeds over, but just in general, has he brought leadership? Has he brought that experience? What has he done for this young team that you have here?
Yeah, the two things you just mentioned, right? Leadership and experience, and he's been through a lot and made some deep playoff runs and had success at this level and knows what it takes. So, he's a throwback. Jake's a throwback from kind of the old school, how they play and how they approach the game, and he's not like this tight details guy. He's just a competitor, and that's what's pushed him to the level he has. And I think he's still got lots to offer. Still got that competitive and drive to be not just a player, but a very good player, an important player. So he's very big for our room.
I'm sure when you were a young player, there were throwback players back then as well. As we work through the decades here in this league.
Say that again, sorry?
How important is a throwback guy, a team? Sorry, so how important is a throwback type of player to a young team?
Yeah, sometimes you get caught up in the X's and O's, or you get caught up in these other details, but sometimes you just got to go play hard, compete, get competitive, and it's done ugly. It's not done, in a perfect box with a bow on it. It's done. We're getting the dirty areas and doing it ugly, and I think those guys are so important. I think there's always going to be room for guys like that to go hard of their areas, make sure that it's done the right way as far as that competitiveness, that drive, the passion. I don't know how you play this game without passion. It'd be a real hard game because it's so hard, so fast, and there's some guys that maybe try to get by on just skill alone. I don't feel like Jake's one of them. I think he wants to play with passion and drive, and like any player, he has his up and downs during an 82-game schedule, but to the root of it, he's got a lot of passion for this game, so it's important.
Yeah. Do you have any health updates? We saw Bean out there skating today, which was good news. No Texier. Is that kind of the and no Bayreuth, or is that about the long and short of it? Or
Pretty much, yep. Yeah, I think it looks like Beener will be a player for us tomorrow. Tex, no. And Bayreuth, no.
and Elvis, no.
Elvis, no.
I would think no. You guys call up a couple of interesting names to the taxi squad today. Liam Foodie, obviously, we know him around here. Jake Christensen, though, I wanted to ask you about him a little bit. Didn't get a training camp to really see him because he was injured, I believe. Played well in Traverse City. What do you know about him, and what are you interested to see what maybe how he practices or what he looks like, with NHL players?
Yeah, he's got a skill set for sure. He's very headsy with the puck. He's good in the offensive zone. I think he's been working on the D side of it, getting more competitive, like we've been talking with all our players. So, yeah, we'll see if he gets an opportunity here. I haven't decided on that yet, but he's a guy that he's very interesting. He's a player that he could look real good with NHL players, and we'll see. I mean, they've been going through a lot down there in Cleveland too with COVID and all that stuff. So, he's coming off that protocol a little bit ago and trying to get back up to speed. So we'll see for about tomorrow.
Yeah, and with Foodie, what kind of reports are you getting on him this year when he's been able to play? And what kind of stuff does he need to do to get himself up here and get another shot at the NHL?
Well, first of all, you want to see his speed. He should be hunting down pucks all night long and getting physical when the opportunity's there, getting his nose over the puck, making sure he owns it and takes care of it, decision-making with the puck, attacking the game. That's what we want from him. He's a really good skater, and with those legs, you want to make sure you're attacking it and on the offensive side of it and tracking it and making sure that he's responsible. So all reports are that he's been doing that. Consistency's been better, and that's a huge thing for a player, is consistently bringing that effort. So, again, he's another guy we'll see about tomorrow.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
We'll go to Jeff Soroka. Go ahead, Jeff.
Thanks, Glenn. Thanks, Lars. You talked last night about how nobody was going to feel sorry for you and just, trying to make sure, this team kind of keeps morale up. But I know human nature being what it is. I mean, just how hard of a challenge is that to make sure when you're going through a skid like this, that the guys are just able to kind of clear their heads and just able to keep going through all this?
Well, that's our job. I mean, that's honestly, you're going to have to work your way out of this. Nobody's going to hand you some wins just because you've lost some. There's other teams going through losses, some really good teams that I've seen. So there's one way through it. It's rolling your sleeves up, and we are going to work at it. I told you, and I talked to them in practice, and it's not punishment. We have to get better in some areas, and we're going to. We're going to improve in those areas, and whether that translates to wins right away or not, I don't know. But we're going to work at it. We are going to improve and get better and be harder to play against, be more assertive, be on our toes, and attack the game more, and be more responsible. And that comes from the coaching staff and preparing these guys. From our practice habits to our competitiveness level in those practices. We don't have time to waste a practice right now. We don't. Winners get to rest and watch and take those days. We're not in that category right now. We have to put the work in, and we will.
Right. Also wanted to ask about Sillinger. Do you have an update on him yet?
He's taking the day. Should be okay tomorrow, but again, we'll see.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So that's all the questions. We'll go to Annie May. Go ahead, Annie May.
Hey, Brad. I just wanted to ask about kind of throwing it back a little bit more to Voracek. You guys have kind of had a rough go these last couple of games, even, the last 3 weeks with health issues, stuff like that. But does Voracek playing his 1,000th game kind of help you guys morally? Like, is something like that really cool to celebrate for you guys, to keep morale up?
Well, celebrating 1,000 games with a win would be the best way to do it, right? So I think we all can take a step back and appreciate what that milestone looks like. We certainly will celebrate it, but at the end of the day, we're here to win a hockey game when we go to New Jersey. That's our number one priority. So I think everybody understands the magnitude of that milestone, and it's a huge milestone in my eyes. But again, we're here to try and win hockey games.
All right, thank you.
All right. That's all the questions we have. Thanks, Lars.